Hi everyone, Sandy Wilkin here from Jackson, Ohio. Today I'm going to share my little golden book, The Little Mermaid, that I have, this journal that I have made for a lady that is going to give it to her friend as a gift because her friend loves the book, The Little Mermaid. So I'll show you what all I did with this book. I had a lot of fun making this one. So let's get to it here. Okay, first of all, the closure, I used a headband. And I had found these little patches, a little package of patches that had a starfish and this mermaid and a couple other things. So I used that patch on the as decoration on the closure. And then these are so easy to get off. That's why I like to use headbands. Then on the cover itself, I used some real pretty bling bling that I bought at the Dollar Tree. I love those different colors. They remind me of different shells and the iridescence of the shells. And then on the binding on the end, I used some fabric trim, and then I had this other trim that I put on the edges, and it just reminded me of seaweed. It's just real floaty and looks like seaweed, so I thought that was perfect for that. And I didn't do anything to the back. I left it like it was. Then I have this little tassel that I made, and it is just made by a clip, so it comes off. I'm not going to take it off right now, but I'll show you what I have on there. I have some real pretty different colored eyelash trim that goes with the book. And then I used a piece of a necklace or bracelet and added some little charms to it. I think I've got a dolphin, a fish, a little seashell, a ship's wheel, and an anchor. And so that made a nice little tassel that is removable. And then let's go inside the book and see what all I did here. So I used some real pretty rickrack to decorate the inside the cover. And then that shows through, you see, on the back. I always make it so that the rickrack goes clear to the edge, and then that way it shows. And another thing I do, when I put anything on my book itself, I use E6000 glue. I don't trust any other kind of glue to stick, so I use E6000. Anytime I use this trim too, I do. So here's a cutout that I got from a book that I had bought at a thrift store, and that shows Ariel there. And then I have a pocket here that I made from an envelope, and I have this sticker that says this book belongs to, so she can write her name there. And then on the first page, I have my signature shaker tag that I made out of a junk mail envelope, and it's got a bunch of little sequins in there, different colors, and it's got a couple little seashell charms, I believe, in there. So it's a little shaker tag that goes there. I try to put that in my golden books every time I do a golden book junk journal. Okay, and then the next page, I've used some real cute little fringy trim that looks like it goes with this page here. And then I always have this stamp, and the story begins, so that the person can journal or put a note there, or whoever gives it to her could write a note about her birthday and how this is a special junk journal just for her, or whatever she wanted to do there. Then here we have the title page, and some little child had this book and had scribbled in ink here. So I just made a little tab there to cover that over. So there's a little tab. And then, of course, in the story, you know, there's Ariel and her little friend Flounder, and her dad is King Triton, and she, of course, loves to go, she lives under the sea, but she loves to go to the surface, and she wants to be in the world of humans, and that's how the story starts. And here's a nice little journaling page that I made, and I had some stickers. I thought that was really cute with the mermaid sticking up out of the water. And then I used some blue, real pretty blue lace on that, and that goes to the next page and blends in. So I had another cutout of Flounder, so I put Flounder in there. And so Ariel, she likes to go to the surface and visit with this seagull named Scuttle, and he's always showing her different things that humans have. And so she starts making a collection, a little treasure chest, full of things that she finds on the bottom of the ocean that has to do with humans. So in this little pocket here that I've made, we have a little cutout of Scuttle, got him there, and then this tells about his what his little sayings are for these things he finds. And the translations are, his fork is called a dinglehopper, and a snarfblad is a pipe, and trepidatious is very brave, and prehysterical means prehistorical. So he has his silly words that he uses. And we'll put that back down in the pocket. I can get it in there. Another envelope I've used for a pocket. Here's a journaling card that shows Scuttle showing her the dinglehopper, and he says humans use this to straighten baby's hair. It's a fork, you know, to eat with, but that's what Scuttle tells her it's used for, to straighten baby's hair. Okay, then we have another little thing that I found in a book. This was quotes made by Flounder, some of his famous quotes, so that's something you can read. Again, that is a journaling card. And there is King Triton, who is talking to Sebastian and telling him to keep an eye on Ariel, because he doesn't want her going to the surface all the time like that. So, and then this is a picture of Sebastian and Flounder discussing her going up to the surface all the time and how she's not supposed to be doing that. But anyway, on the next page, one day she goes to the surface and sees this boat, and so there she is going to see in the boat, and then she goes to the surface. But here's a beautiful card that I found, and I put the sticker on it, "The Ocean is Calling," but I just thought that card was gorgeous. So that was part of the signature. And then on the other side is where I did the big cutout that I'd found in the book of Sebastian. And then I used this really cool trim on this page. Now this was one of the things that I made at the Junk Journalers Ohio group. Had a little get-together a couple weeks ago, and it was called a Junk Journal Jamboree, and it was all these stations where you could make really cool ephemera. So I took some of my stuff with me, and I knew I was going to be making this book, so I made my stuff having to do with the ocean theme. So this was just a piece of paper, and I used a piece of corrugated cardboard and put the stamp pad on it and made these lines, and then pressed it onto the paper with some other little circles too, and then I put some stickers in it, and that made a nice journaling spot. So I added a note there, so I thought that was really neat. And then here's some different lace. And then this, of course, is your ledger paper that I just folded and made 2 pockets on the front, and then I glued it on the inside so it opens up for journaling. So I glued this to the page, and this is a nice moments to share place to journal there, and some stickers. And then when you shut it up, you have 2 pockets on the end with, there's a journaling tag. You can journal on the back of that with some eyelash trim. And here's some more things. This says Mermaid at Heart. I found these stickers in a book that I had bought from Amazon, and some of those sticker books are really neat to get from Amazon. And there's a little mermaid cutout thing for a journaling card, another little small seashell journaling card. And then she sees this beautiful, handsome prince. When she surfaced, there she is, she's peeking up, and he's there with his dog. And she just suddenly falls in love with him. But then all of a sudden there's a storm, and the ship is tossed and wrecked, and she rescues Prince Eric from the ocean, and she sings him a beautiful love song, but she hears all the crew coming, so she goes back into the ocean. So the next page is a fabric flip where you can have some secret journaling. There's her saving his life, and there's another one of those little patches that was on that thing that I got. And then here's a little piece of lace I added there, and then there's a little seashell charm that I put on the fabric flip. I thought that fabric looked a lot like shells. So now this stuff I got from those samples. These are like fabric samples, carpet samples or something that you can buy. And they have a whole bunch of them in a little packet, like carpet samples or fabric samples. And then the next page is the middle of the signature. And I tied that off with a little silver whale tail charm and a little tiny fish charm. And then this is for the person to be able to use colored pencils or markers to color this beautiful mermaid. And then I made a tuck space on each side for a journaling tag. There's one that I used stickers on at Collage. That was stickers. And then this is a friend of mine, Rhonda Binkley, who's quite the artist, and she makes gorgeous tags. And I thought, boy, that is beautiful. So I thought that looked like a mermaid looking type tag. So I put that in there on that side. And then I used this blue rickrack. And then on the next page, this was another thing I made at the little Jamboree workshop. It's just a little cutout notebook of just papers that you put together, and you could journal in that if you want to. And then I used a little sticker of Ariel and a doily, and then this little thing to hold everything together with a little seashell charm on that ball pin there. And this was some really cool sticker trim that it was nice. It was in a roll. I think I got that at the Dollar Tree too. But anyway, here's Prince Eric, and he tells his servant, his steward, that this beautiful girl rescued him, and she had a beautiful voice, and he says, I've fallen in love with her. So, but King Titan gets furious when he discovers that she has fallen in love with the human, and that she's collected all these treasures from the bottom of the ocean. So I used this page, and I made one of these. I don't know if you've seen this before, but you take the bottom of a paper bag or sack, and this was an orange one, and then you just cut the bottom off, and then I put a little tab here, and then you open this up, and it makes a pocket. And inside, I have put some treasures I thought were kind of cute. Some seashells, and I think I've got the little, a little cross, and I got the fork in here that Scuttle shows her. Some more little treasures in there, another seashell, but there's the little fork charm. And so the best thing to do on this kind of thing, though, is make sure that you put all the things down in this side of the bag so that when you close it up, they will not fall out. So I made that mistake before, and now I know how to do that. But anyway, that makes a nice little treasure chest there. So I put under the sea and used this really pretty pink heart ribbon for trim. Here's another journaling page, and I always make sure I have plenty of pages to journal in, because that's what they're called a journal for, is you've got to have pages to journal. Well, the next page was just a beautiful picture that I thought was neat, so I just left that. It kind of looks like her little place where she kept her treasures. And then I put this photo sleeve, folded the photo sleeve up so she has room to put her own photos and her own keepsakes. And then this was another thing I made at the workshop. It was just a little beautiful piece of fabric onto this nice paper clip. And these are cards from I Spy Game. And I thought they were perfect because this looks like the stuff she might have found under the ocean. And then here's another little bauble and other things, a pearl in a shell. These are all from I Spy Games. I'm always finding cards to use in my junk journals that children's game cards that just go right along with the theme of whatever I'm doing. So that goes back on there. And oh yeah, one of these goes on the other side. I'll put this one on the other side. And there's a seashell. I just love that seashell paper, so I wanted to leave that and put that one there. And then this is, he gets so mad that he takes his trident magic wand and zaps all of her treasures and destroys all of them. So she starts crying. She's all upset about that. And so, of course, the mean sea witch, Ursula, sees her and her crystal ball thing there. And she says, well, I'm going to see what I can do to help her. You know, yeah, she's going to help her, all right. And this is a nice thing that I cut out from that book that shows Ursula and how she's a magical creature with tentacles like an octopus-like. But she's really evil in the book. And then I made a tuck space out of that little picture and put a little tag that's Hermelinda, I think they call this tag. And you can journal in that if you want to. And another one of my little I Spy cards there for that, in that tuck space. Then I used some real pretty, real pretty, put together. Lace there on that one. Then this is another journaling page. I had a bunch of these little cutout things, and I've always used them for flip ups. Something fishy's going on around here, yeah, with Ursula and all her little sneaky things she's doing. So that I thought that was really cute for that page for journaling. And then so she sends her slimy eels, floats them and jets them to talk to Ariel and tell her that she needs to meet with the sea witch, because the sea witch has got some things to tell her to maybe make her cheer her up. So the sea witch tells her that she will turn her into a human so that she can go find her prince. If she says, but on the third day, if he has not kissed you, then you will turn back into a mermaid. Okay, so there she is with her eels. And this is one of the things I made up at the workshop. It's a belly band with all kinds of stuff collaged on there. Some fabric and some, I think that might have been a tea bag and some other stickers and stuff. So that made a nice one there. So I put in Ursula there for a journaling card. And this is, did you know, Ariel's given 3 days to receive a gift, or a kiss. And if she succeeds, she remains a human. But if she doesn't, she becomes a slave to Ursula. So that's what we've talked about. So 2 more journaling cards there and some real pretty lace. And then here's another place to journal with this, another one of these beautiful stickers with the mermaid. And this was, I got this at the Dollar Tree. This starts the second signature. And you can see where that clip is on there. And that can be opened up and taken off the dangle. So anyway, this is the second signature. And this little jar with these beautiful little... I think you can get these to put on a real mason jar, but I thought, boy, that's perfect. I'm just going to cut out that jar and put it on here. I just think that looks so cute in the journal. So the next page was a beautiful envelope that I had, some beautiful stationery, an envelope from some that I had gotten at the thrift store. And then this was a cutout, talks about what a mermaid is and how the legend of the mermaids. And this shows a Russian drawing or wooden carving of a mermaid. That's for some good information. I always like to put that in my journals. And here's a little tiny file folder I thought was so cute. It just went with the journal, so I put that in there. That could be used for journaling. Well, this is actually an envelope, so I'll just stick that part down in there. And then this went through as a belly band. And another journaling page, I have another stamp here. Some real pretty purple lavender rickrack. And so Ariel goes ahead and decides she will go with whatever the sea witch said. So she does become a human with legs. So here she is. This is another belly band I just made from a cutout that said the word ocean. I thought that was cool. And then this paper right here is wallpaper samples. I had an old wallpaper book that I'd got from Sherwin-Williams, and I saved it. And then you look through and find really cool wallpaper. This was all fish and ocean-themed wallpaper, so that worked out great. And so here it is. It says, when Ariel first becomes a human, she has no clothes to wear. Luckily, she finds an old piece of sail to wrap around herself. I thought that was cool. And then there she is looking at her feet. She says, Ariel tests out her brand new toes. That's so cool. And then we have some more little white lace. Oh, no, white and purple and white. And then I used this really cool bag I had. It's not glassine, but I think it's like paper bag. And inside that, whoever gets this journal can put their keepsakes or pictures or tickets or cards, whatever they want in there. Here's a little journaling card. And then I added some stickers, some sea creatures and some seashell stickers so that the person could use those however they wished in their journal or however, make some more cards, make some more tags. And then this is an envelope flipped down. Near the sea, we forget to count the days. Boy, isn't that the truth? I can't wait till my vacation in a week or so and we'll be at the ocean. All right, then you flip this envelope down. I only did one flip down this time. And inside there is a journaling card that tells about trivia about Ariel and who her friends are and so on and so forth. It's a little trivia about the Little Mermaid. And then this little card says, feel the breeze, taste the salty air. You can journal on the back of that. And then I decorate it with stickers and made that in. And then here is at the top is a little journaling card that you could use. It shows, looks like she's walking on the beach there to find the Prince Eric with her feet now. Okay, well anyway, the next page is another one of my, what are they called? That paper called again? You know what I mean. This is a different color of it. Then I made a pocket out of that and used some trim here. Ledger paper. Well, I don't know why I keep forgetting that. And I love that sticker, Stay Wild Ocean Child. And I had this beautiful mermaid sticker with it too. So I added a journaling card where will Eric break the spell, where he kissed her and break the spell. Oh, we don't know, it's a journaling card. Another little journaling card with a mermaid and some fish. And then this is another coloring thing. You could color those seahorses or make a journaling card out of that if you wanted to. So there she is up there talking to the prince, and he, of course, he fell in love with her when he first heard her sing and everything. And she said she didn't have a place to stay, so he invited her to stay at the palace. And they were out in the boat, and he was just about to kiss her when those stupid eels of Ursula's comes up and knocks the boat over. And then Ursula makes this magic potion and turns herself into a beautiful maiden. And here's another journaling page. Fill your life with sunshine and your heart with love. There's some more lace, blue lace this time. Now this was a card that I had. She sells seashells by the seashore. And how does she know? Her sister says so. I thought that was cute. And that, you can journal inside that if you want to. And then here's a little ocean tag. It says Gone Surfing. Journaling tag with some different kind of trim that looks real oceany like, seaweed like. And then, so there's Ursula dressed up like and she has, she's taken Ariel's voice away from her. So Ariel can't speak because she took her voice away and put it in this little shell around her neck. So anyway, he thinks this is the beautiful, because of the voice, he thinks this is who he should marry. So he's getting ready to marry her. And of course, Ariel's back there and she's all upset about that. So Scuttle happens to see her looking in the mirror, and in the reflection, it's the sea witch. So he goes back and tells Ariel. So they quickly form a plan of what they're going to do to get to make everything right. Now here's a beautiful picture 2 color of seashells. And then on the other side of that was this strange, beautiful design. And I thought, boy, that looks like ocean waves. And so I thought, well, whoever gets this book can color that too. And then I put in the middle, the second signature, I closed it off. There's some of the strings hanging down. I closed that off and made it into a big file folder keepsake place. So she can put her memories, says, you go girl. And she can put everything in there she wants. So in here, I just happened to put some more stickers, mermaid stickers. Here was a piece of stationery and an envelope to match that's by the sea. So anything like that she wants to use to journal in or put her own things in there when she gets this journal will be just perfect, whatever she wants to do with it. And so I made another envelope on the other side. We do not remember the days, we remember the moments. Again, more keepsakes can go in there or whatever. And another coloring part there and another coloring part there. So what happens is that they get the Scuttle comes down and they tell who she is, and so she turns back into the sea witch, and of course Ariel was about to get a kiss again on the 3rd day when she turns back into the sea witch and yanks her overboard, and she's turned back into her mermaid. So let's see what's going to happen next. Now these were beautiful mermaid cards that I had with the envelopes. You saw an envelope back there that came with it. I bought those at a thrift store. So that was a beautiful card. Again, look at this. I just love that illustration there. And then you can journal in there. And then this is another tag. I think this was one of Rhonda's tags that I had gotten. Put that pretty eyelash trim on. And here's some beautiful sea green lace. And that goes to the next page, which is another journaling page. It's your day. And of course, Sebastian comes, her father comes along, and Ursula takes him prisoner. But then Eric comes to the rescue and uses the trident and everything. And of course, she gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he just takes the ship and runs into her, and that's the end of Ursula. So this is some more of that wallpaper, except this is border. So I just folded it, I glued one end in, folded it and made it into a pull-out. So you can see how beautiful that border is. I just loved it, so I just had to show that beautiful fish. And then on the other side, I made a little notebook here that says make a note. And then this is some stuff from under the water if you wanted to put words in there or journal, whatever you wanted to do there on those stickers. Then I used this beautiful pom-pom trim like little ball things, blue and green. And then the next page went over to this junk mail envelope, which I covered with the seashell paper and put in the window a tag to journal on if you wish. It's a seahorse, and that goes back down in there. Okay. Oops. And then here is take time for the dreamer in you, and this is another thing I made at the little workshop. It's a little cluster. I think that's a tea bag. I just loved that stuff. It's a tea bag there, and then some flowers and some stickers and some more of this kind of trim. And there, oops. And then this is the other part of that wallpaper sample. And I made a little side pocket and put in this seashell playing card that I had found, and another shell card, and this little tag that I put a shell on. And then of course, now that the Sea Witch was gone, Triton was free, and Ariel was still sad because she wasn't with the prince. So Sebastian said, oh, not Sebastian, but her dad said, I think she really is in love with him. So he took his magic scepter or whatever and made her be able to be a human. And so she and the prince were married and sailed off happily ever after for their honeymoon. And that was the end. And then at the end here, again, I have used a paper clip that I have made, altered paper clip. And then I make a couple more of our little, whatever they are, photo sleeves that can be used. I love this paper, so I left it. I love that mermaid paper. And then unforgettable moments at the end. This here, this back one here. I love paper clips. I love to alter them. Love, love, love them. And then another one of those things from the Dollar Tree. This one had seahorses. This time it was in a glass. So I cut that out and used that on this last flap with another little seahorse card that could be journaled on or colored or whatever. And then some more trim. Oh, this is washi tape. I use washi tape a lot in here too. And some more trim. And at the end, I have an extra envelope that you can open up. And again, you can put in keepsakes, favorite memories, whatever you want there. And I think that's even opened at the top for whatever, pictures. And there at the end, there's Prince Eric. And of course, they're going to be living happily ever after. So that's the end of The Little Mermaid. And I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope that the person that gets this will enjoy it and have fun journaling in it. So bye-bye until next time. See you later. Keep journaling.